in one night. I'm just telling you. I'm
Are we
just
still
saying.
talking about SEAL Team 6 or are we talking about Santa Claus?
We're talking about Santa Claus. I think Santa Claus is truly an American god.
I immediately, in my mind, started playing the Here Comes Santa Claus, Here Comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Desk Talks. We are so glad that you joined us here. As you can see, we here are talking about Christmas because, hey, it's Christmas time. All right. We're having a good time talking about Santa Claus, and we had some things that we wanted to talk to you guys about today. First of all, Rob, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. As you can see, it's beautiful Christmas time in Texas. Over my left shoulder, it's like 70 degrees here. It was 75, foggy and rainy this morning. Will really put you in the Christmas mood. But I can tell you, the Christmas magic is alive and real in this Texas Hearst household. So I'm doing fantastic. My favorite time of year. I said it last week. Spirits are high. Everybody, for the most part, is happy, and that includes me. But how are you doing?
Good. Feeling the exact same way. We're full-time Christmas mode here. We finished up our Christmas shopping. For us, that's a big deal. We are procrastinators. We're not good gift givers in this house. So Christmas time can be a little stressful.
Not like my wife who starts Christmas shopping in October.
Well, it's because your wife is an awesome pre-planner. The problem is that my wife and I get into this paralysis where we're like, is this what we should get? And we keep on saying that. Like, we just need to be able to execute a decision and move out, which we did this year. I'm proud of us. We were not scrambling. We have everything ready. So
yes, you
it's
do.
Exciting.
Yes, you do. And a phenomenal Christmas village that I hope you share. I got it. We haven't talked about it, but I have a great idea. Let's talk about it real quick. And I'll let everyone know. DES offices are going to be closed for Christmas next week, much to the chagrin of Chase, who I had to convince to take a week off. But I think what we should do in preparation.
Do what? Spend time with my family? Come on.
Yeah, the greatest gift that you've ever had. You can be like me and get caught up on all the home improvement projects, all the other nonsense that needs to be done. But what we should do is take videos of our respective Christmas villages and allow everyone to see them and vote on which Christmas village they like more. I can tell everyone unequivocally, Chase will win in a landslide. But I want to show off my Christmas village because it's a new-ish tradition for me that I stole from Chase about 8 years ago, and it is some of the most fun I have. I look forward to it every year, setting up that Christmas village.
You know, that's funny that you brought out I do geek out a little bit with the Christmas villages. I got into it whenever we were stationed up at Fort Drum, and I had a good friend of mine gift me one. Staff Sergeant Smith. If you're out there listening, dude, thank you. You started a hobby that has been so expensive and a Christmas tradition that I enjoy. He gave me my first Lemax, is what I do. And we've been collecting ever since. And and the kids and I and my wife, we get every year, we add a piece and we decorate that together as well as a tree. That is a wonderful tradition that I absolutely love. It is nerdy. And I'll share it with you guys.
Yeah.
It's nerdy. I love it. I get a strange amount of joy out of it.
I do too. And I feel like nowadays it's a rush between the two of us to see who can get their Christmas village up first. I think I beat you by all of maybe 15 minutes this year. I got mine done, and then you sent me a video of yours 15 minutes later and went, it's done! Mine too! But my wife just got me She was the addition. I wasn't going to add to it this year, but she got me a giant, light up Christmas tree that is now taking center stage of my Christmas village, which means a lot to me because I, like you, that's just, we set it up together. The boys and I set it up together. Melissa helps us. That's indicative of what Christmas is about. Spending time with each other and just turning off the electronics and just being with each other and being thankful to be there. So I could go on and on. My favorite time of year.
It's mine as well. It's got me thinking of some of our favorite family traditions, Robbo, that we had when we grew up. What was one of yours?
Well, let's see. Can I do two? Can I say what it was growing up and what it is now with my
Hey man, I'm gonna say this in front of everybody, dude. You're the boss. I mean, you just say whatever you want. You can have three if you would like.
All right, well, buckle up, Buttercup. For the next 40 minutes, we're talking about Christmas. You know, one of my favorite, the thing that comes top of mind, and I know hopefully I'm not going to steal yours, but every Christmas Eve growing up was spent over at our aunt and uncle's house, Hughes and Aunt Carlene. Whenever we lived in Murfreesboro, you know, we got together, we celebrated Christmas as a family. But it was more than that because I remember, you know, helping mom make the biscuits in the kitchen. You know, helping to make the red eye gravy. Country ham is always ever present. It's in my freezer right now. It will be cooked on Christmas. You know, those simple traditions, much like your Christmas village. You helped us create a tradition that, you know, Staff Sergeant Smith helped you create with your family. So my biggest one is probably going over to Uncle Hugh's, Aunt Carlene's house and enjoying that time as family before we went off to, you know, Christmas Eve service every year growing up. So that would be mine from growing up. I think now, as a parent, my favorite, I don't know if you call it a tradition, but it's decorating outside, putting up the wreaths because I'm telling y'all, Christmas is my favorite time of year, man. I look forward to it all year long. And so whenever
your little Grinch heart grows three times.
My wife, look, Melissa does not allow me to decorate for Christmas. If it was up to me, we'd skip right over Thanksgiving and Christmas decorations would go up immediately after Halloween. Now, 12 years into marriage or almost 12 years into marriage, my wife has beaten into me that I must wait until the day after Thanksgiving to decorate for Christmas. But I think it's the act of, you know, now that my boys are older, they're helping me. So it's pulling out all the Christmas decorations. It's seeing how excited they are. And like we're feeding off of each other's excitement, you know, and there's no screens involved. There's no electronics. It's just us. And it's just fun, man. And so we go and we hang up wreaths on all the trees, you know, in the front, and we hang it up on the mailbox, and it's just a blast. Decorating for Christmas is probably my favorite tradition now. What about you? What are your favorite from growing up, and then your favorite with your family? I got it.
I have to say, you know, being with family was my favorite tradition growing up, just like you. Going over and, you know, going over to Uncle Hugh's and Aunt Carlene's house, being with our cousins, getting to spend that time with them, playing around when we were kids, you know, until we got to be teenagers and young adults. Even we were still getting together as much as we could, you know, and the conversations changed. A lot of cards got played, you know, like it was just a good time. But the food stayed the same, you know, and we did it year after year after year, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was one of my, you know, we would always go and have dinner with Uncle Houston and Carlene, and then we would pack up as a family, and we would then go, you know, to mass or, you know, Christmas Eve service, you know, and then we would split ways, and that was just my absolute favorite. Go home, you would get ready for bed, and Dad would always read a Cajun Night Before Christmas,
right? Yeah, and do the voices, which I still maintain, we still maintain in our house.
We do as well.
Yep.
We still read that one every year. We usually call Dad, now affectionately known as Big Daddy.
That's right.
We call him, and we get that story. That's one of my favorites. And then Mom always read to us, I don't know if you remember this, but read us the Polar Express every year. Two of my favorite traditions right there, man. It was the stories. It was the tradition of sitting down and spending time with each other. And, you know, you could really tell, you know, time is the most expensive thing that you can give. So spending time with people is in my opinion, my favorite gift. As you know, Rob, you can confirm. That's
yes.
I always tell people, they ask me, what do you need? What do you want for Christmas? And I'd say, your time. Set aside 20 minutes on Sunday, you know, or one day a week. Give me a call. Let's catch up. You know, give me that for a year. Give me 52 phone calls.
We still have our silver bell from the Polar Express is on our tree right now.
That's a good tradition. That tradition down.
Yeah.
That's a good tradition that we came down. We had Elizabeth and I up at Fort Drum had a unique opportunity. And if anybody's on the Eastern Seaboard up in the Adirondacks, I hope you take advantage of this. But they have a Polar Express that runs to the Adirondacks, and the kids get a bell and a cup of hot cocoa. We were able to take them on that whenever they were younger and just had an absolute blast. They take you up through the mountains all the way up to where they have the North Pole set up where you can get out and take pictures with Santa. Unfortunately, our kids were under the age of 4, both of them, whenever we went and did it. So they don't have a lot of memory of it. But, putting up the bell, I have a memory of it, and that's what matters. My wife has a memory of it. That's what matters.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So what's your favorite tradition right now, though, with your kids? Now that everybody's a little bit older, we're almost teenagers.
So, I kind of teased it last time. My wife runs a home bakery, for people that, are gluten intolerant and have allergies. My wife has those same issues. So now a favorite tradition of mine is actually getting in the kitchen and baking with my kids.
Mm.
Food is so important to us as humans. It nourishes us in more ways than one, in my opinion. And it can be a healing thing. It can bring people together. And that's what I love. I love getting in there. Mom always made nuts and bolts when we were growing up. So the smell of nuts and bolts in the house, it is not officially a Christmas season until the first nuts and bolts are made. So I love that tradition. We make Muddy Buddies in this house. I mean, the cooking, cookies and all the good stuff, hours spent, over, because we do the same thing. We're not allowed. My wife has instilled in me after 15 years of marriage, almost 15 years of marriage, I have to wait as well until Black Friday. So lame, a bunch of Scrooges. And so as soon as that happens, I get the nuts and bolts into the oven. Like the kids and I are cooking up a storm. Sausage balls, another one that we do. If you don't know what that is, go to Pinterest and look.
Yep.
They're fantastic.
You're welcome.
All right, now that we jabbered on enough about Christmas traditions, if you do not celebrate Christmas, hey, good for you. We do in this house, so if that offended you, good. It's good to be offended at least once a day. So, if you, to move on from Bill's character.
Bill's character, man.
It helps you with your resilience. So moving on from that, let's, what do we got today? Man, I saw something in the news yesterday, just broke my heart. I know we said we weren't going to touch on it too much, but what we did want to say as a company, as a team, we want to say that our hearts go out to everybody that was affected up in Madison, Wisconsin, with that shooting. Our hearts just go out. Rob and I are very big into feel your feelings. Man, that would hurt a little bit. Every time it happens, it hurts just a little bit more. Hearts go out. We hope that the healing process begins quickly and you guys are able to heal as a community and move forward quickly. We do know that that's hard. It's easier said than done. Anything else, Bub?
I very well said. I'm trying not to get myself started. I went on a good 30-minute diatribe before we even started this morning. But yeah, I agree. Senseless act and really all thoughts and prayers. Just I'll take a minute out of my day today, say a quick prayer to the family and the children impacted by that. Yeah, prayer for healing up in Madison.
Is the line that you can call if you need help.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shame associated with that. Everybody needs help sometimes. Whether that be emotional, financial, whatever, it doesn't matter. Everybody needs help. 988 is who you can call to get some help with that. And with that, that's all we're going to say on that subject. We're going to move on to something a little bit different.
I feel like the hand before you kicked it over to me was, hey man, say your piece, but keep it short. So thank you.
Keep it short.
Thank you. Well said. What else you got for us? You shared something else that I wanted to talk about that I don't have a good grasp on, but you were sharing with me something about like quantum computing and what all that means. Can we talk about that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, I mean, the crappiest part of it, we record this on Tuesdays, right? So we release on Thursdays, and we try to come through for the week. We try to come up with some news that, just to broadcast it, because we realize that not everybody watches the news, okay, because it is depressing. Right? right? So if we could bring something to you that we find interesting and bring it to your attention that we think that will benefit you. One of those things that Rob is talking about is I was surfing the internet the other day, yesterday actually, came across an article that Google, the headline was Google, what was the headline? Google confirms possibility of multiverse. And man, I'm such a nerd. So I was like, ooh, yeah. And I clicked and started reading through. It is very impressive. I mean, I sent you that article. You see, it's about quantum computers.
Yep.
And I don't completely understand it. So if you're out there listening to us and you understand quantum mechanics, good for you. We're very happy for you. I want to talk to you about it, but I don't want to talk to you about it because it hurts my head. But from what I understand, it's that they put an input in, right? And the output took 5 seconds, and that surprised them because the quantitative or the computing power needed under our now historical abilities, it would have taken something like 5 quadrillion billion word, a number that is mythical in my mind.
Yeah.
It brought it down to about 5 seconds. And that's with the AI that they're using in combination with the, with that computer chip. What does that mean? Right? Like we say, what does that mean? I don't understand exactly how that works. What I can say is that there's an opportunity here. I've said it before here on this podcast, and I'm going to say it again because I think it's important. You're going to see a dynamic change in how we operate with AI being introduced. It's a good time for you to look at your opportunities. So if you do work in a field that you feel like AI is going to push you out of that job, it might be time to start looking at what your options are for getting retooled, right? Higher education looks different now than it did 5 years ago. Am I wrong, Rob? I mean, 5 years ago, we weren't seeing the things that are happening, right? So it's time to go back to that toolbox, time to start looking and seeing what those opportunities are.
For sure. And especially rolling into the new year, everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people do New Year's resolutions, new year, new me stuff. Something that I started, go figure, whenever I started working in higher ed, and always had one of my goals. I don't call them resolutions, but a goal for my new year would be to educate myself in some place where I felt I was relatively deficient or something that was new to me. But before I go off on that, the article that you shared is interesting because, and I love the title, Google confirms the possibility of something. Okay.
Yeah, clickbait. It got me. Right?
All right. But I mean, it was an interesting article, especially because the potential ramifications of that are, what they are saying is this quantum computer or this chip that they called like Windy or something like that, this quantum chip has enough computing power to not disprove the existence of multiple dimensions. Or
multiverse, right?
Right. It's not just Marvel anymore.
Right. Spider-Man's been trying to tell us.
Hey, man, Ant-Man did it first, right? And so here we are. Here we are. But that's fascinating because the more, this is similar, I would think, I don't know, but I would think this is a similar discovery to like dark matter, to understanding the human element, understanding human existence, how we came into being, if there's another world or another dimensional plane in which everything is inverse or we're running parallel to, it's all for all the nerds like me out there that I feel like this is something we can really sink our teeth into. Do I understand it? Absolutely not. Shamelessly, I can tell you 60 to 70% of my knowledge probably came from Marvel. But Marvel and Big Bang
came from Ant-Man. Yeah. Or Neil deGrasse. I can never.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Dr. Tyson. Yeah, there you go. I have such a hard time with your name, sir. If you're listening to our podcast, thank you. We'd love to have you on the show. Maybe you could come explain this to us. But I was watching him last night because I read that article, and I have this wonderful superpower that I tell my brother all the time. It's my superhero power, which is I have ADHD, which means I can hyper focus on things. So I went down the rabbit hole and listened to Neil talk about that. That sounds so familiar. Mr. Tyson, go ahead and sit there and talk about that last night, like the possibility of all this, what the quantum what the quantum world is going to bring. And it's fascinating. They talked about how the job market is going to shift and how AI is being introduced in the way that it's being introduced and the speed at which it's being introduced is not to be feared. This is just another step in evolution. It's like finding fire, right? So this is going to be foundational for us, and that's okay. If you brace yourself for that and you prepare yourself for that, then you can seek the opportunities that come available through that. So if you don't think that you know much about computers, you know much about AI, you don't know how, if you want to get into that world, great. There's going to be parts of humanity that still are not affected, but it will be integrated, into our world. My wife, as a teacher, our kids. I'm going to go off on a tangent real quick. Rob, pull me back whenever I go too far.
No, I'm here for it.
Like my wife is a high school teacher. She teaches biology. I can't remember what she's teaching right now. For being honest, she went to a new school, so she's teaching like anatomy, biology, and something else. Right. Her biggest issue in getting with the in educating the children is that they're using ChatGPT, they're using AI, and incorporating that into their quote unquote learning style. I love my wife's approach to this because she was frustrated with it for the first couple of years, but now she's learning to adapt to it. It's something that the kids are going to use. There's nothing that you can do about it. It's the same conversation that she and I have all the time. Like, you've got to adapt to the kids. So what is she doing now? My wife sat down over the last couple of days and has been trying to learn how to use AI effectively so she can teach her kids, like, how to type into Google, like how to actually search something in Google. And if there's nothing wrong with looking up the answers. Use your resources that are available to you, right? I remember teachers telling me whenever I was a kid that there wasn't going to be a computer or a calculator in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a calculator in my pocket.
You got a whole computer in your pocket now.
I got a whole computer in my pocket. I've got a vast resource of knowledge, right? The difference is we need to be teaching our kids, and my wife and I agree with my wife with this statement, is that we need to teach our kids how to use the resources. We should not shame them for using the resources that are available. They're not cheating. They're being resourceful. Change your scope. Look for the opportunity.
And if I can, I think what you're trying to say, or my big takeaway from what you would call a tangent, is all this is new and people are scared of new because they don't understand it.
Yes.
But instead of being scared by AI and what that brings into the workplace and how that can replace you, understand how to utilize AI and leverage that resource and use it as a tool to further your career, further, I don't know, how you write, how you write to people. Write like I talk. And so for better or worse, it is what it is. But, running an email through ChatGPT and seeing how just a simple change in tonality elicits a different response from someone. I mean, that's using AI effectively, using AI in marketing, what have you. But with this discovery from Google and this quantum computing, I mean, you're opening up a whole new world of relativity for AI over the next decade that can be scary, because the reality of the situation is AI is smarter than us. It can learn and it can adapt quicker than we can as humans. So how do we leverage that resource? How do we leverage that tool to further your career or retool and focus on a new career? I mean, the possibilities are endless.
I am going to take something from somebody that is probably not the right place to put it here, but I'm going to put this here. A former CEO used to say that you need to learn how to manage your manager, right? And that was his mantra to his, to the IBM crew, right? Which is manage your manager. I love that saying, right? And I think it's directly applicable here. A knife is sharper than my hand is. Doesn't mean that I don't use the tool right? And I'm afraid of the tool. AI is a tool. AI is a tool. It is sharper than you are, right? But doesn't mean that you are still in control of it as long as you understand it, right? So I understand the knife and how to use a knife. I was trained by my parents on how to use that knife and how to cook for myself and how to use that knife. Just like that, we have to learn how to use AI, crawl, walk, jog, run, and take your time with it. Learn. Those who do not adapt eventually get overtaken. So don't be that person.
One of my favorite posters. My favorite poster I ever had hanging on my wall whenever I was stationed in Fort Lewis up in Washington was a poster of a penguin, and it said conformity. And there was a line of penguins crossing this ice field, and then there was one penguin there shivering and cold. And the saying was, it's the penguin who doesn't conform that gets left out in the cold. I can say with beyond a shadow of a doubt, for those who are pushing away from AI and don't want to integrate that into the workplace, believe you me, your way of thinking is antiquated. We do this with everything. We did it with computers, and look at us now. We did it with cell phones. Look at us now. For better or worse, it is part of the workplace. The sooner we embrace the AI and leverage that resource, like Chase said, leverage that resource, the better off I think we're going to be. And the last thing I want to say about it is, if you're looking for a roadmap for what this quantum computing looks like and how it can really integrate into our life, I encourage you to go back over Christmas, rewatch a film or watch it for the first time called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think it could really help reframe your mindset. Don't forget your towel.
That's right.
And just enjoy it. But I'm waiting for that. I say that jokingly, but I'm waiting for us to get to the point with this quantum computing where we can put into like ChatGPT or whatever, what's the meaning of life? What is the purpose of human?
Ultimate question.
Yeah. And I swear, if it spits out to me 42, we're all going to reflect on this podcast December 17th, the year of our Lord 2024, and say, man, Rob had it right.
It's like one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. I absolutely love that movie. I'll watch it in sickness and in health. It's a great one. So many life lessons wrapped up in such a great, hokey, B-rated film.
Kidding. Well, not to take us off, but I think, Chase, you have something to tee up for us after the Christmas break, right? I think we have somebody special coming on the podcast.
Are you ready for me to tease? I'm ready to tease.
I am. Tease me.
We are so excited. We have finally booked our first guest, which we are so excited about. We're going to have on Navy Bob, and he has a book out right now that is Navy Bob Leading with Love. And you can go to Navy Bob Leading with Love, I think it is .com, and you can go check him out. We're going to have him on January 13th, the week of January 13th. Is when that episode will be coming out. We are so excited to have him. If you have any questions that you would like to send towards Navy Bob and you would like for us to ask, this is your chance. Email us at info@dynamiceducationalsolutions.org. And yes, we are working on getting that truncated because that is a lot. But bear with us. Send us over your questions that you have for Navy Bob. He's an amazing person. Rob and I got to meet with him. The energy that he gives off is absolutely contagious. It's infectious.
Yes, it is. It is. And if I may, real quick, his breadth of experience from a leadership standpoint covers the military, being the captain of a nuclear submarine, being first in fleet for year after year after year, to privatized healthcare, to working inside of the Bush administration, inside of the White House. If I'm not mistaken, he was the CEO of a large company. I mean, that's going to be the scope of our conversation, is leadership, inside of leadership and transitioning leadership, and how to implement the talents gained from military service, how to bring that into the civilian workforce, and leveraging those soft skills that you learn and that you you grow on a day in, day out basis. And I told Chase the second we got off our Zoom call with Navy Bob, the first words out of my mouth were, that is going to be an amazing episode.
Yes.
It's going to be fantastic. And we have some questions we're gonna shoot his way and get his thoughts on. I encourage you, if you don't listen to any other one, tune in the week of the 13th. Listen to that one. It is well worth your time.
Absolutely. And with that, we're going to go ahead and kick it off. We will not be here. We're going to take off, like Rob said, for the week of Christmas. So to all of our supporters out there, thank you. We are so grateful for you this holiday season. We would not be here without you. We'd like to thank you for your continued support, and we look forward to having you back in the new year. I think our new one releases, January 2nd, right? We look at the calendar yet? I think it's January 2nd.
Our new podcast.
Yep.
Have we told them about our new podcast?
We have. This will be a great opportunity.
We have either. It's a whole different vibe. I can tell you that right now. It is a whole different vibe. Mom, maybe sit that one out. But I'm looking forward to it. Tell them if you want to or don't tell them. I'm all about being teased. So
yeah. Be on the lookout. January 2nd, we have new stuff for you. Make sure you go check out our website. We did have that revamped there right after Thanksgiving, leading into December. We had a revamp of our website. If you have not checked that out, it is www.dynamiceducationalsolutions.org. You can click on it here or there, and the links above or below, and you can reach us there. Shoot us a line at info@Dynamic Educational Solutions if you have anything that you would like to ask Navy Bob, or if you want to ask us. We look forward to seeing you guys in the new year. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Skadoodles.
Stay minimally professional.
There you go. Stay minimally professional, my friends.